Hey yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of Elevation Talks. Y'all, guess what? We are halfway through the year. Ain't that crazy? Man, we are coming off of Father's Day weekend, man. Shout out to all the fathers. Special happy Father's Day to my father, the original gym dropper. You feel me? I was actually having this conversation the other day, and I was like, yeah, man, I've actually been blessed to have not one, not two, but three fathers. Yeah, three father figures in my life over time. And I'm really grateful. I had a stepfather who was super, he was a good dude, taught me how to drive, taught me about structure, you know what I'm saying? A little bit about stability. And my biological father, he was the one for me that me and him, sometimes we would literally just sit and just talk. That's why I said he the original gem dropper because man, me and him would just go for hours and we would just talk. And he would always tell me he loved me. And he would give me these crazy bear hugs, man. And I'm talking about it was like it's just the tightest hug that I've ever had in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I found myself giving those type of hugs because I'm like, that's when you know you mean it. Not one of them little church hugs, little pat on the back, little side. Nah. Like my dad, it like really, really like embrace you type joint. And one of my most favorite, most memorable moments with my biological dad, my earthly father, right, is I remember when I would have to be like 15 or 16 years old, and I was coming out. I had just moved back to Atlanta. Well, I had just moved. My mom and my stepdad kicked me out. And so I went to stay with my dad. And, he had asked me, why, like, what happened? What happened between you and your mom? And, the only thing I could say, and I had to be honest, and honestly, I was scared to be honest. I said, Dad, I got kicked out the house because my sexuality. I'm like, I like women. And he just looked at me, and I'm talking about y'all, I felt so heavy. Oh my goodness. I felt so heavy. Yeah. I felt so heavy because, I come from a Christian background. You know what I'm saying? I come from church, and my grandfather was a deacon and all of these things. And so I was always met with condemnation about, my sexuality. And, I have been liking women since I was literally a little girl. Like, I wrote my first love letter to a girl when I was in elementary school. Like, I was in the third grade. And so, over the years, and my mom caught me, and, she told me, she read it and she was like, I don't ever want to catch you writing like something like this again. And so she balled it up, threw it in the trash. Me and her, we never talked about it after that. We never brought it up. Like, that was just that moment. And so, those feelings never went away. I just had to suppress them over the years. And so, yeah, like I never knew what to do with my feelings, like here I am. Every time, we talk about sexuality and, being gay or whatever, it's like, Lord, why do I have these feelings? I know you created me and, you love me. So why does it not feel the same like here on earth? Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? And that really used to be my thought process. Like, okay, why don't I have regular feelings like everybody else? And so literally, I spent time, I was catfishing. I was catfishing like girls on the internet. because my parents wouldn't allow me to like go out and stuff. So I basically got online and I was pretending to be a dude and, just really going through an entire identity crisis, man. Cause it's like, I didn't know how to be myself, like, and not even I didn't know how to be. I didn't know that it was okay. And so by the time, me and my dad had this conversation, like I said, I was 15 or 16. And when I say like, oh, I was catfishing, this is back in the day when like the AOL chat rooms existed. Do y'all know anything about that? But yeah, man, it was really a crazy time because I remember feeling convicted when I was doing it. Like it got to a point where one day, man, I was just like, Lord, I don't want to live like this. Like I don't want to pretend. I just want to be myself, right? And so, yeah, like I told my dad, and this gesture that he made towards me, this was the first time in my life where somebody was like, he was like, Ebony, I love you. You will always be mine. Like, I'm not going to look at you any differently. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I care about you. And oh my God, y'all, he gave me the biggest hug. And I literally I laid my head on his chest. And you know what I'm saying? Like we just sat there for a minute because it was like for the first time in my life, somebody's told me, even though this is what you got going on, I still love you. You still mine. And that's not going to change anything. I still see you. And that right there, y'all, that was the permission for me that I needed to start being my most true self. And that moment for me is very like symbolic to me because I feel like that's the exact gesture with God. And I thought it was so intentional because it's like I had this moment with my earthly father and I also had this moment with my spiritual father. Yes, sir. And so over time, I just continued to be myself and I didn't want to, do the whole people pleasing and, let me pretend to do this or pretend to do that to help, make other people feel okay. And it's like, nah, truth be told, I'm not here to make you feel okay. I'm here to be me. And I love that over time, I've really taken a deep dive on my journey with God because He has already called me his. Like before any of my accomplishments, before, any skill sets or any this or that, he already called me his. Yeah. He already affirmed me, he approved me, and he called me. And y'all, that is literally how I live my life. That's how I get to literally walk in boldness and be courageous and literally walk in any room as my most authentic self. Why? Because I'm not looking for the approval of men anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really, really grateful just for, like I said, that moment with my dad, because it literally opened up a whole new world for me. And, like I told y'all, we just coming off the weekend of Father's Day. And so it's exciting because I think I told God Happy Father's Day for the first time. Yo, it's so crazy. It's so funny to me, man. Because I'm like, dang, Lord, I don't know if I've ever told you Happy Father's Day, but thank you. Like, thank you for filling in the gaps wherever my earthly fathers have fallen short. You know what I'm saying? Because both of my earthly fathers, my dad and my stepdad, they're men. And so they're carrying their own weight, their own trials and tribulations, and, their own walk of life. You know what I'm saying? And so just like I got to give, my mom grace, I got to give them grace. And so I'm really grateful that I have God, wholeheartedly and anywhere that I feel that they have falling short, or they could have did better, or we could, just whatever that situation is. Like, he has fulfilled that space in my heart, in my soul. You know what I'm saying? And it's fulfilling, man. I was sitting in service yesterday, and they was playing like this Father's Day video. And, it's just different clips of like people just honoring their father. And, it just, it made me start, just thinking about even more like what my childhood experience was like, or, just even by the time I became like an adult, like, what did that look like? And so I'm just like, I'm just grateful that life was what it was. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Like, it could have been worse. You know what I'm saying? And I really, like I said, man, I'm really grateful for it. And I'm not just saying that to say, like, when I say, oh, God fills in that gap. Like, I'm not just saying that because it's like, oh, it sounds good, or that's, it's churchy, or that's the right thing to say. It's like, nah. Like, I can sit right here today and I can just recall every time God stepped in. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hear me tell the story about my grandfather. Like, my grandfather just kept showing up at different times in my life where I needed a father, my father, to step in. And they were nowhere to be found, but my grandfather was there. And so, that's why I'm like, I definitely had some father figures in my life that have stood in the gap over time. And, I will always honor them because God chose them. You know what I mean? So like I told my dad yesterday, I'm gonna always honor you because God chose you. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna always honor you, like, because of that. Because without him choosing you to bring me through, where would I even be today? And so, super grateful for that, man. And I'm really grateful, since we're talking about like spiritual father, I'm also grateful for my spiritual family. As you continue to take a deep dive in your walk with God, any gap that you feel like you have when it comes to like a relational gap, he will fill in that gap. And not just with himself, but he will send his other children to fill in that gap for you. Y'all, when I tell y'all, I got some cousins on God's side of the family, like, yeah, man, I got some really dope cousins on God's side of the family. And man, we make time to talk to each other, see each other, like, just, and I'm not talking about that church brothers and sisters. Nah, I'm talking about real people, real stories, real testimonies, like real deal on their own personal journey with God. And one of the things that we all talk about is like how God just, he knew that we needed each other in the time in which we met, you know? And so it is just very refreshing, just to really be experiencing in real time God's love, God's grace, God's mercy, God's provision, like just everything that God, and I ain't even gonna say that he has to offer, because I know we are only scratching the surface. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm like, it's good right now, And so, yeah, man, I encourage y'all to, if you don't have like a lot of spiritual family and you do feel like, man, I ain't even gonna lie, I could sit and look at my life and I could use wise counsel. I could use, people that could walk with me on this journey and all of, just have more purposeful friends and interactions and encounters and stuff. Talk to God about it, man. I remember many years ago, I had prayed. I told God, I said, Lord, I want more purposeful friends. And he gave me friends that were, entrepreneurs and, trying to figure out purpose and, all of these things. And so he literally answered my prayer. And over time, those relationships have just grown and, blossomed into something else completely different to where now we just family. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you get when you walking with God, man. You get family. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about your blood family. Like, nah, this is family. These are people that turn into family. And if we can be honest, sometimes they treat you better than your blood family do, if we gonna be honest, right? But yeah, man, I just wanted to jump on, say what's up, talk to y'all about my spiritual family, my spiritual father, and just to bring it all the way around. Wherever you feel like there is a gap in your relational life, God is he gonna do everything, right? But I'm just speaking specifically on relational life right now. Wherever you feel like there are gaps, there are holes, it's okay for you to be honest and ask God to fill those. And guess what? Even if you don't just quote unquote ask him, he knows deep down what you really want and what you really need. And he is so good, such a good father, that he'll give you what you ain't even asking for. You hear me? Yeah, he is a good father. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget this, because I think this is important. I was listening to a sermon this morning, and they talked about how God will discipline his children. And I was just like, man, that's a good father, because come on, when we think about our parents, we feel like in today's time, there are some kids out here that are not being disciplined enough, and we have our stories from back in the day, like, man, some of us are well behaved because we know what it's like to be disciplined. So just know that God is the same way. Like, I told y'all about the time he had to discipline me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to my podcast when I was talking about when I used to eat edibles all the time, and I started depending on the edibles instead of him during my circumstances, and he had hemmed me up. Yeah, go back and listen to that podcast and those stories, because I'm like, God is disciplining you because he loves you. And I'm like, that's what a good parent does. Not allow you to be just out here running wild and, going crazy. Nah. Like, God gonna lean in. And if he have to tap you and get with you, he'll do it. All right, y'all. Until next time, man, I'm Naye Liggins. Don't forget to follow me, Naye Liggins, on Instagram, Naye the Gym Dropper on TikTok. Follow the YouTube channel, Naye the Gym Dropper. And y'all go buy my books, man. We are in libraries. What? Yeah, man. I'm telling y'all, we actually just got put in this very famous independent library, Strand's Books in New York, y'all. Hey, shout out to the Knicks too. Come on. I ain't even gonna spend too much time on that, but I want to shout out the Knicks on the win of the NBA championship, y'all. I was so excited for the Knicks, and I'm not even a Knicks fan, but it was just like the drought that they have been experiencing for 53 years. Wow. Even when it didn't look like they was gonna win it. Ooh, y'all. I ain't even gonna preach. Just that right there alone is enough to show you, hey, even when it looked like it's over, it ain't over until it's over. Big facts on the energy. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year.